when you talk about this idea of, Karen Bass in L.A., the D.C. situation, Johnson in Chicago, Mamdani potentially in New York, everyone's positioning themselves for their next step in the power struggle. And Gavin Newsom is probably the highest profile guy doing that. And Newsom is I don't know. Maybe people buy this. Maybe I am so out of touch with the American people that maybe they will fall for the lead actor in American Psycho. Maybe that will be a thing. Maybe they want that. Maybe they want a guy who, by all appearances, seems to carry all of the characteristics of a serial killer from a movie portrayed in the 80s. I don't know. It's possible. I can't put it past the United States. They elected a guy who was in the second syllable of the word dementia when he was elected. And he progressed into the last syllable during his public time in office. Perhaps they would elect someone like Gavin Newsom. But is it just me? Is it possible that we maybe as Americans are still capable of seeing through someone who is so clearly trying so hard? You might look at your life and hope that you can make some good friends and have a good spouse and have a great family. But I have to break this to you. You, in your entire life, will never find anyone who loves you as much as Gavin Newsom loves Gavin Newsom. There will never be a relationship in your life, your children, your spouse, your mother, your father. No one will love you like Gavin Newsom loves Gavin Newsom. It will never occur. It's the type of relationship that, I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but you hope that Travis and Taylor can get to at some point, but they never will. They will never love each other as much as Gavin Newsom loves that mirror. This dude loves himself. And it's funny because he's constantly remaking himself to try to garner the attention of whatever audience he feels benefits him at that moment. That is really the extent of it. What gets him more power, more money, more attention, more clicks? That's all he's doing. A big chunk of California is back on fire. I don't know if anyone's noticed this. Maybe Gavin will notice this one because it's wine country. I hope it doesn't hit anywhere near the French Laundry. He's got half of his state burned down last year. A big chunk of it's on fire again. And what is he doing? He's tweeting. He's tweeting at the president. He's releasing new merch. This is who this guy is. And every single step of the way, there's been a new Gavin Newsom. He's like a software release. Gavin Newsom comes out, then they release it. It's Gavin Newsom 2.0 and 3.0. I think the new iPhone is coming out soon. He's got more versions than there are iPhones. Go back to the beginning. Gavin Newsom, back in the day, he's this, Gavin Newsom 1.0 was this rising star of the Democratic Party. Gavin Newsom, Democrat rising star. The fresh-faced California golden boy coming up, hyped as the party's future. Some people bought that, but it's the beginning. He gets into mayor of San Francisco. Is that really, long term? Maybe he can turn that into the presidency. It certainly was his thought, even at that time. And then Gavin Newsom 2.0 was Gavin Newsom Playboy. Right? He was the guy, he was the ladies' man. And one of the ways he made sure that you knew he was the ladies' man is by breaking, I don't know, if you have a pyramid of infidelity, okay, at the maybe at the bottom, it's a cheating on your high school girlfriend. I don't know. And then you raise that up, and it's eventually a few steps up from that. It's cheating on your wife, which is really, really bad. And then it gets higher than that. There's several steps. And at the very top, I would say, of the infidelity pyramid is sleeping with your best friend's wife. That's Gavin Newsom Playboy edition. Sleeping, I mean, it's one thing. You have this guy who is not only his best friend, but also helping him through his career, helping him climb the political ladder in California, working closely with him every single day, but apparently not every single night, because while he was working alone at night, Gavin Newsom was also working his wife. I mean, you want to talk about a bro code violation. That's got to be number one, right? That's as bad as you can possibly get. We've churned out a lot of garbage in this country. There's been a lot of trash that the United States has pushed out over the years. Some great people, too. Lots of them. More than maybe any other country in history. But we've also, screwed up from time to time. We've got our serial killers, we've got our mass shooters, and we've got our Gavin Newsoms. Then Gavin Newsom 3.0 was the anti-Trump tough guy. He's out there talking about Trump all the time, criticizing Trump. He was the guy that was going to stand up. He was a resistance warrior. Then Gavin Newsom 4.0 was released. And that was Gavin Newsom, the DEI warrior. He was the guy that was going to promote every single race and color. He was going to take the most important characteristics that everyone has, their skin color and their genitals, and make all decisions based on that. Because at that time, that's what benefited him. Now, he at one point, this is like 2019, he's governor, and it's right before COVID, and he's got a decision to make on, some high-level health, basically the HHS secretary of California, if you will. And he is in the middle of figuring out who to promote. He's got an infectious disease expert who is in line for the job. Everyone expects her to get the job. The problem with her, though, is she's white and blonde. So she doesn't get the job. She's passed over for someone who doesn't know what they're doing, but is the right color. And he puts her in the position right before COVID. Now, look, as we all can sit here and remember, not every disease expert did things that we would necessarily approve of. As conservatives, as people who care about our liberty, I'm sure we would disagree with, whoever he put in there as far as policy goes. But instead, he put in someone who was completely incompetent, to the point where they actually were hiding her from reporters at press conferences. They weren't inviting her to meetings about COVID. And they were pushing out the actual experts from the meetings before that. So that was Gavin Newsom as he steps in. DEI master. Then, of course, Gavin Newsom 5.0 was released, which was Gavin Newsom COVID dictator. Longest lockdowns. Most extreme policies. The guy who, if you were to look back and say, who were the worst offenders during this period, you'd probably see Andrew Cuomo first, let's be honest about it. But secondly, you're probably going to see Gavin Newsom. And he was the first guy who really locked down, even before Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo was still in his previous release, which was, this is no big deal at all. Then you had the Queen of Versailles, Gavin Newsom, who decided, while, yes, of course, everyone else should be locked down, I should be going out to dinner indoors. He's at the French Laundry, rolling out Gavin Newsom 6.0. Then Gavin Newsom 7.0 came out. There's probably a 6.1, 6.2 I'm missing in here, but Gavin Newsom 7.0 came out. That one was, hey, it seems like, this is at the point where Trump, maybe not looking like the favorite for 2024. The favorite for 2024 looks like Ron DeSantis. So what does Gavin Newsom turn into? Ron DeSantis. He tries to be, I'm Mr. Competent Governor. I can debate. In fact, despite the idea that right as of now, he's not even running for president, I'm going to debate Ron DeSantis on Fox News. That's Gavin Newsom. Super competent debater man. Gone through 7 versions so far. There's a couple more. You'll, of course, remember Gavin Newsom 8.0, the party line man. Yeah, he was, at first he was this guy who was out there. He's debating Ron DeSantis. He looks like he's running for president. It's kind of weird, right? Because Joe Biden's the candidate. Joe Biden's the president of the United States at the time. And then, of course, you have this escalation to, it looks like Biden's going to continue to run. Newsom doesn't know what to do with himself because he's positioned himself to be the guy. And the party is cracking down on him and saying, hey, Gavin, get in your lane. This is not your gig. So Gavin Newsom becomes party man, defending Joe Biden, the number one guy out there telling you Joe Biden is completely fine. Nothing's wrong with Joe Biden. Biden's the man. He's super, he's sharp as a tack. I don't know if you've heard that. So we go through this whole thing. Then the debate happens. Who's out there saying he's still fine? Gavin Newsom. Tons of people in the Democratic Party are saying this guy can't run. You can't have another Biden term. Who's out there defending him all the way? Gavin Newsom, party man. He's the party line, Gavin Newsom 8.0. Then there's Gavin Newsom 9.0. You might remember relatively recently he became an anti-DEI centrist. Yes, he just couldn't believe the idea that you would let men play in women's sports. What? He's cracking down on such things because he can relate to you. This Democratic Party seems to have gone too far, Then, I think there was a Gavin Newsom 9.1 release where he became a manosphere podcaster and started talking to, Charlie Kirk and saying, oh, Charlie Kirk, my son loves you. He wanted to stay home from school to talk to you, Charlie Kirk, because you're so relatable. I'm having all the right-wing guests on because I can understand them. We might not agree on everything, but here I'm basically Joe Rogan. Now, that's me because that worked previously. I remember it happening in 2024. It seemed to work for Trump, so I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. And that all leads up to, of course, the newest release, Gavin Newsom 10.0, a social media troll. And you might think, oh, well, this guy, he's mocking Trump. He's got the capital letter, tweets. He's always doing this while his state is burning to the ground. He's on Twitter. And you might think, wow, this is an interesting approach to win in 2028. But of course, it's not. It's got nothing to do with what he's going to be doing in 2028. There'll be 12 other versions of Gavin Newsom that'll be released before then. This is what he does. Right now, his task is lining up donors, getting social media excitement for his primary campaign that will come up in 2027. He's working on that Gavin Newsom right now, and when he needs to be a different one, he'll just change to a different one. He's absolutely soulless